A very warm greetings, dear students. Let us see the subject Production and Operations Management. Let us start with the very first unit, Unit 1, Introduction. This is a very beautiful quote for you, an impressive quote too. You should always think big and aim higher. But even your aims are higher, you should start very small. So small steps has to be done. And your steps have to be very fast. You should learn fast. So think big, start small and learn fast. What do you mean by production? Production is a very intentional act of producing something in an organized manner. So it is intentional, purposeful, and it is also systematic process. This production applies to both manufacturing organization which produces goods and service organization which render services. See the definition of production given by Mayer. In a manufacturing organization, production is the fabrication of a physical object through the use of men, machines, materials, and equipment. But in a service organization, production is the discharge of a function which has some utility. So as far as manufacturing organizations are concerned, it aids to physical objects. But when service organizations are there, it discharges and renders services or some functions which adds value and utility to the organization. So this is called as production. See the process of production. This process of production is otherwise called as transformation process. This transformation process starts with inputs. So these inputs are raw materials, money, men, time, machines. So all these resources are called as inputs. After the inputs are sent, there will be a conversion system, subsystem. So this conversion subsystem is called as the production, wherein these inputs are processed to reach out to the outputs. So outputs can be either finished products or services. So this conversion subsystem is controlled by a control subsystem. So these control subsystem are the various management functions which controls the entire production process. So production is an act of transformation. It is purposeful and intentional transformation where inputs are processed and it is transformed into output. What are all the various inputs? Information, management in the sense managerial skills, material, land, labor, technology, and capital. Capital is the amount with which it starts the business. Technology is both hard technology like machines and also soft technology like softwares and other applications. What are all the outputs drawn from the production process? It can be either goods or services. See the objectives of production process. The main objective is optimum use of resources. So the available resources like inputs have to be used at an optimum. That is, maximum benefits have to be derived from the minimum inputs. And the manufacturing of desired quality and also quantity of goods and services. So these two are the objectives of production process. What do you mean by production management? Now we saw about production, right? Now let us see what is production management. It is defined by A.W. Field. Production management is the process of planning and regulating the operations of that part of an enterprise which is responsible for actual transformation of materials into finished products. So production management is managing the entire production process. That production process is the transformation process. So this is called as production management. What do you mean by operation management? It is a different term than production management. Operation denotes process of changing inputs into output with the creation or adding value to some entity. So it is not only simply changing inputs to outputs. Operation will add value. So it is called as operation. What do you mean by operations management? It is a field of study. It is a discipline. So operations management is the study of concepts, procedures, and technologies used by managers, administrators. All top management people are called as administrators, and employees, those who are in the real operations of production in the activities of various organizations. See the definition given by Barry Shore. Operations management is the management of any operational system which transforms inputs into output. See the scope of production management. What are all the areas covered in production management? Very first aspect is interrelationship with other functional areas. Production is not a separate act. It has to be integrated along with other managerial functions like marketing, finance, industrial relations, personnel, that is human resource. There are several characteristics of production management. It limits to transformation process activities alone. So, how the inputs are transformed into outputs, those activities alone are covered. And the functions are, one is to design the production system, and number two, whatever the production system is designed, that has to be controlled. It is not technique. So production management is not a technique, it is a field of study. It includes both production planning and also production control. There are certain main activities of production management. First one is specification of inputs and procurement of inputs. So both raw materials have to be given, what kind of raw materials you require, how much you require, at what type you require. All these things have to be noted down in the specification format. Whereas after noting down all these things, you should enable to obtain these raw materials, procurement of raw materials from respective suppliers. Another activity is product designing and development. So all these raw materials are to be procured in order to produce products. So such product has to be designed in pen and paper work and also as a model, and then product development has to be done. Supervision and control of such transformation. So whatever activities have to be supervised. So let us see about the functions of production management. The very first function is design and development of production process. So production process is a very lengthy process. It differs from one organization to another organization. So such production process has to be designed and developed. Production planning and control. So planning has to be done based on the plans. All the other areas have to be executed. And control is checking whether the activities are done as per the plan. And the third function is implementation. So whatever is planned in the second stage of function is being implemented now in the third stage. And all the related activities have to be obsessed to produce the desired output. Last one is administration and coordination of all the activities which are involved in the designing, development of production process, production planning, control, implementation. So everything has to be coordinated and administered. What do you mean by production system? Production system is otherwise called as manufacturing system. What do you mean by system first? System is composition of all the components. It has different components. So there are three main components in production system. One is inputs, transformation process, and output. Further, subcomponents will be there. What are all these subcomponents under the main components? Operations and activities. So combination of all these activities and operations in order to produce some goods and services is called as manufacturing system. This is otherwise called as production system. System is based on factors. So what are all the various factors? One is based on the manufacturing or organization policy, the type of production and size of production. Size of production can be either large scale, medium scale or small scale production. And then the type of transformation process. So what are all the inputs here? Raw materials, components, paperwork, everything. Outputs are completed parts, products, paperwork output, services and scrap. Conversion process, receipt and storage of raw materials as per FIFO, LIFO, etc. FIFO is first in, first out, and LIFO is last in, first out. So based on that, all the raw materials will be stored. And then transportation, inspection, storage, information and control function, all these things are covered in conversion process. So manufacturing system is interdependency of all these subsystems. So this manufacturing system interacts with both internal and external environment. Internal environment represents marketing, accounting, personnel and finance activities. External are customers, competitors, suppliers, labor unions and stockholders. What are all the different types of production systems? Broadly, it is divided into two types, intermittent system and continuous system. Under intermittent system, you have job production and batch production. Under continuous system, you have mass production and process production. What do you mean by intermittent system? It is intermittent system will occur at regular intervals and all the goods are manufactured based on customer's order. So each and every order will differ. There is irregular material flow because order will differ from one time to another time and based on different customers. And production facilities will also be flexible. So what are all the characteristics of such intermittent system? Products are produced in smaller quantities based on customers' orders and machines are laid as per process. And then unbalanced workloads are there and then needs highly skilled operators. In process, inventory is also very large and flexible sorting production will be there. See the summary of today's class, whatever we have seen. We saw meaning of production, transformation process, production management, operations management, scope and functions of production management, manufacturing system, meaning and its types. Under that, we saw what is intermittent system and characteristics of intermittent system. So topics for next session will be meaning, characteristics, merits and demerits of the types of intermittent system, that is production, job production and batch production. Thank you very much.